Hello, America. I'm Laura Packey, and welcome to Arizona Today. My guest is Warren Petersen. He is the president of the Arizona State Senate, and he's running for Attorney General of Arizona. Now, this is exciting because, one, I've known him like about 12 years, I think. He hasn't aged. I have, but he looks still good. You're not supposed to say anything yet, Senator. He does have a dry sense of humor, I will tell you that. But what's exciting is we're dealing with Arizona issues. And as I think most of you know across the country, Arizona has led the way in a number of issues the past 5 years, from election integrity to now the issues with the family court system, and on and on. And we will have more shows about these things. So for the senator, he's the president of the Senate, to come on, who's running for Attorney General, is not really that unusual, even if you're in Bangkok or wherever you're watching me, because Arizona has taken the lead in a number of issues. And that's what we're going to talk about over the course of these months. The election's about a year away, but he's agreed to come back periodically, and we're going to ask questions. And also, if you have questions you would like to ask, just email me at arizonatoday@gmail.com. We'll put that up at the end of the show, arizonatoday@gmail.com. And I'll take these questions and I'll set them aside, and I'll ask the senator when he's on. So, Senator, thank you for taking time out on this Saturday, and I'm ready to go if you are.
Sure. Good to see you again.
You're good. Nice backdrop, by the way. I don't know if that's your office, but it's a really nice backdrop.
Yeah.
Is it your office
It's my
at home?
It's my home office. Mm-hmm.
Well, because I think we've done a couple of them in different places, your Senate office and a couple of other places. So it's really kind of nice to see the changes.
Yeah.
All right. A question I did get an email was, what made you decide to run for Attorney General of Arizona? I mean, you've had a successful career in the legislature. I know that, and there's a record showing that. And you're leaving now as president of the Senate, and you're running for Attorney General. And the question was, what made the decision for you to run for Attorney General?
Sure. Yeah, great question. Well, it actually wasn't really on my radar until recently, but it's really easy to take your attorney general for granted until you get a really bad attorney general. And we have a really bad attorney general right now. But folks who had worked for the attorney general's office, the legal community, came to me and said, Warren, please, save this office. Please consider running. And so I looked into it, and I'm very passionate about, what the attorney general mission is, law enforcement is to protect life, liberty, and property, and passionate about those things. Furthermore, I've been called the de facto attorney general. This was another reason folks have asked me to do it. Arizona has a state law that gives me standing to defend the Constitution, defend our state laws. And consequently, I'm in over 80 lawsuits. And so people have said, you're doing the job already, at least the constitutional defending the law portion. And they're really happy with the way I'm doing it. And so it encouraged me to run, and took the call and filed. And we've been working hard. I've done over 103 events now. And we're getting around the state, meeting great people, and the response has been really good.
A follow-up question that came in with not the same person, but a friend of hers. I almost hesitate to ask this because I think you've already answered it, but do you see yourself rather differently than the current Attorney General of Arizona?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I know. I hesitated to ask it. I hesitated.
No,
go ahead.
It's a fair question. It'll be dramatically different. And I mean, my pillars are really what I see is what the AG's office should be doing. The mission of really, it's just simple, just fulfill the mission of the AG's office. But I'm going to defend the Constitution. I'm going to fight crime, and I'm going to eliminate government corruption. And I think what you'll see is that people are going to be flocking and begging to work for the AG's office, kind of like what we're seeing at ICE now, how people, morale was low. People were leaving ICE, didn't want to work for ICE. Now they received 100,000 applications to work for ICE. And you're going to see the same thing at the AG's office. People are going to really want to work for the AG because we're just going to do our mission. We're going to go out there. We're going to keep Arizona safe. We're going to fight crime. We're going to defend the Constitution. We're going to go after government corruption. Right now, they have low morale at the AG's office, and I think she's having a hard time hiring people. And I think it's because she's veered from the office of the AG. If you'll notice what she's doing, I mean, she's following her environmental passions. She's a passionate environmentalist, and she's using the office to do that. And I think you also see, I mean, she's the most political AG we've ever seen. I mean, she's going after the Trump administration with, I think the latest number was over 20 lawsuits. And she's going after political opponents here in Arizona. You don't see her going after Democrats, but you see her going after lots of Republicans, or at least not actively against Democrats. Supposedly, there's an investigation she's doing against Governor Hobbs, but I've seen and heard nothing about it in the headlines. We do hear a lot about her going after Republicans in the headlines. So that will end when I become the Attorney General. I am going to keep Arizona from turning into California. Under this AG, we're drifting towards that. I'm going to keep us safe. And the reason why hundreds of people move here every day, and one of the biggest reasons they move here every day is because Arizona's safe. And I'm going to make sure Arizona remains safe.
Well, as a follow-up question, along the same lines, it was about a month or two ago when they had the various forums around the nation about no kings, you remember, and that was a liberal project to go after Trump again. And Chris Mays, the current Arizona Attorney General, was in Prescott, which was, ladies and gentlemen, the first state capital of Arizona. It was first territorial capital, and then the first state capital before it was moved to Phoenix. So Yavapai County, where I'm at, and you all know that over the years we've talked about it, and Prescott holds a very dear position in Arizona to many, many, many folks, and also across the nation. So down at the courthouse, the old courthouse, 100 plus years old, they held a rally, a forum for no kings, and she was one of the key speakers. My question, and it comes from questions I have here, but my question to you is, if you were Attorney General, would that have been something you would have attended, much less spoken at?
No, we have been collaborating.
It's a real question.
No, it's okay. Yeah, no, absolutely not. And we've actually been working closely with the Trump administration. I've been to the White House 4 times in the last 9 months, meeting with the Trump administration, protecting the interests of Arizona, because our AG is not protecting the interests of Arizona. In fact, she's fighting the Trump administration on things like, she should be trying to make sure we can mine here. She should have gotten involved when California was trying to force us to electrify our trucks. She wasn't doing that. She's not strong on the border issues. And so, anyways, I will be working in collaboration with, and have been, will continue to work in collaboration with, but in a new role as the AG instead of just the Senate president, whereas she has been a thorn in the Trump administration's side.
I believe, excuse me, Warren, I believe, and I believe you believe strongly in the 10th Amendment dealing with the sovereignty of the states. Our founders, as you well know, having been to law school and studied this, made certain that each state's sovereignty was intact, that it couldn't be overrun or overruled nefariously by a federal or central government. If you were Attorney General, would you protect Arizona's sovereignty against even the Trump administration if they overstepped?
Yeah, I can't imagine that happening, because what we're actually seeing, which is great, is federalism for the first time. I mean, I could have, one of the options I had kind of three paths I could have gone this next election cycle. I could have remained as Senate president. I could have ran for Congress, this congressional seat opened up, or I could have run for Attorney General. But Congress to me is really a boring place because the only things they should be doing is devolving power back to the states and balancing the budget. And we know how they're doing it, both of those things. But what's nice is for once, and this isn't coming from Congress, this is coming from Trump. Trump is really pushing federalism right now. He is devolving power back to the states, getting rid of the Department of Education. He's getting rid of federal programs and saying if the states want those programs, the states need to fund those and operate and run those programs. So, no, I will absolutely protect the interests of Arizona. Of course, yes, I'm a firm believer in the 10th Amendment. And what's great is so is President Trump. And I will help him, with federalism and be supportive of him. A lot of people are like Chris Mays. They're pushing back. They don't want power to come back to the states. They want power to remain centralized at the federal government. I absolutely support federalism and power coming back to the states.
Well, along those lines, and all kidding aside, I may be in error on this, so please correct me. There's been debate, at least minimally discussion between the legislature, the governor, and the attorney general on matters dealing with our border and our security. Now, the governor is the chief executive officer of the state who's sworn to protect our state and our citizens. The attorney general the current attorney general appears to have not really regarded border security, the sovereignty of our state. She's in fact against both, from what I can tell from what she's written and what she's spoken. As Attorney General, would you work with the legislature, advise the legislature? I'm not sure. I'm asking a couple of questions. This is not a trick, but would you advise them as the chief law enforcement officer? Would you advise on how to secure the border, how they could legally, constitutionally?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know a little bit about the legislature. And so, yeah, I will go to them as needed if there's something they need to pass or do, resources or law changes. But I will tell you this, Governor Hobbs, her rhetoric has been that she wants to secure the border. But we put bill after bill after bill on her desk. We put the Border Security Act on her desk. She vetoed that. I was the author of the Arizona ICE Act. Chris Mays didn't come out in support of that, and Katie Hobbs vetoed it. The Arizona ICE Act simply said if you're arrested for committing a crime, then law enforcement will hold you for 48 hours so that ICE can come pick you up. Hobbs vetoed that. There was no support from Mays on that. As Attorney General, one thing I will do is enter into 287G agreements with federal government. These are agreements so that we can work with them directly. We can enforce federal immigration laws. That is absolutely something that I will do that our current AG is not doing. So not only that, our current AG, I don't know if you remember this, but a while ago, or heard about this, but a while ago, she was giving advice to people on when to know whether you had to comply with an ICE warrant. She was basically giving advice on how to, avoid, when ICE could come in and when ICE couldn't come in. And so she was really essentially giving advice on how to avoid ICE is what she was doing. These Hobbs is saying the right stuff. She's not doing the right stuff. Mays is saying and doing the wrong stuff. So no,
Right,
it'll be very different.
A compliment's coming from me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll compliment any individual when it's deserved, and I'll also hold them accountable if I think that's deserved. In this case, I want to compliment you, Mr. President, because one of the things I've noticed since you've been president of the Senate is you've empowered individuals. You've empowered senators to stand up and do their job. I'm not, for a lot of reasons here right now, I'm not going to mention names or specifics. I really don't think I should. But I've noticed, and I know for a fact that you have done that. Now, that's a mark of a leader, is that you have the titular head as the leader of the Senate, but you have empowered senators to do their job in certain areas, whatever that area may be, and you've stood behind them. Now, that doesn't mean you don't disagree with them at times, but I've noticed that, and I want to compliment you. My question is, as Attorney General, would you do something similar? Would you empower Associate Attorney Generals, Assistant Attorney Generals to do their jobs, maybe even take a step or two beyond what they've accustomed to? And then would you do the same thing with the legislature? Now, I know as Attorney General, it's a different position. I'm fully aware. But would you then come back to the leadership of the legislature and say, look, this is an area legally that you can handle, and I'm empowering you to do so?
Yeah, so thank you for that. That was one of the reasons I ran for Senate President, was I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Just for the record, I didn't know that, ladies and gentlemen.
It's good to hear.
I didn't read. I didn't read some notes that
I don't know that I put that out there, but it is one of the reasons I ran. So it makes me feel good to know that you're recognizing what one of my
true story. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I noticed that, and this is natural with anything, but I noticed power was being centralized among the Senate president, and so part of me running was. I wanted to devolve that power back to my senators, and I have done that. You can see there's actually a whole host of things I've done with empowering chairman, giving chairman more power. I removed myself, the Senate president is no longer the rules chairman. I implemented what's called majority. The majority, there's about 7 things I've done where I have pushed this power away from the Senate president down to the members. And so that was something that I wanted to set out and do. So I'm glad you recognize that. Yes. Now the AG's office is different because I'm not working. I will be the only elected official there, which means I have a lot more autonomy, which is right. A good thing. And you need that in the executive branch so that you can be, very decisive. You can be, what's the word? I'm thinking of the word. Anyways. The founders described it as, being very active and being able, to respond quickly. And so that's exactly what you need in that office. I will definitely be creating a whole bunch of, new divisions. There's going to be a higher focus on crime. There's going to be an election integrity unit that will be the most robust election integrity unit that Arizona has ever seen. People will not question whether we have secure elections or not. Under my leadership. So no, absolutely. You'll see a lot of that. I've been a business, owner and a boss and, managed employees. And my philosophy has always been to, hire the best talent. And I'm not a micromanager, but I like to make, the vision clear. And then they go out and they're empowered and they can go, succeed or they can fail. And, if they fail, then I need to get somebody else. But I believe if I get somebody who's really talented and somebody who has the right motivation and drive and the right heart, they're going to do incredible things if you let them, basically let them loose with the right vision.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more question. I know you've got to leave. Let me ask you the question, give you a moment to think about it, and I'll talk to the audience, and then I'll come back. My question is, as Attorney General, if you became Attorney General tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, well, not Sunday, Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Let's do Monday morning at 9 o'clock. What would you see as one of your main problems, concerns, priorities? Okay. I know there could be multiple, but I'm going to push you what would you see as one of your main? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Warren Petersen has been my guest. We're cutting it a little short today because he has, I think, 10 other places to be or something of that nature. When you're running for office, you usually have 3 or 4 places to be at the same time. It's true. Anybody who's run knows this. And I don't know how we do. Well, I haven't run, but I've been with a number of these people who have, and you end up going about 7 out of the 10 at the same time. It's an art form. Thank you for joining us. If you have questions, Senator Petersen will be back over the next months. Write me a question. Write him a question. We've already had a couple of them here today. Go ahead and write in arizonatoday@gmail.com and mark it down for Senator Warren Petersen or Attorney General candidate Warren Petersen. And I'll ask the next time we're on the show. And I'll use your first name, no last name, but your city. And we'll see how the senator answers your questions. That way it's directly to him in front of you, and we'll see. We'll give it a go. Senator, you're Attorney General Monday morning at 9 a.m. A lot of issues. I understand that. But what would you say would be one of your chief issues that you would have to contend with?
Yeah, well, obviously we're opposed on all of these lawsuits that I'm involved in. So there will be a dramatic shift in all of the positions in all of these lawsuits. You'd see, of course, the Trump lawsuits would be dropped immediately, or we would go from opposing party to the same party or supporting if other people had intervened and the case has to continue. So anyways, of course that would happen immediately, but the big realignment is this thing that I've kind of touched on, and that is the vision and it's all about priorities when it comes to law enforcement, because there's never enough resources, right, to do everything. And so it's going to be fight crime, defend the Constitution, eliminate government corruption. That mission is going to be shared with with every employee there. Everybody's going to know that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to focus on. We're here to protect the life, the liberty, and property of the citizens of Arizona. And people are going to be excited to come to work because that's the role of government. That's the role of the AG. And we're going to immediately be unleashed to do that. Right now, what we're seeing involved in is a lot of environmental issues. And in fact, in this last budget, we were able to, I don't know if you know this, but there were two employees there that were being funded by Michael Bloomberg. I was able to put something into the budget. We were able to pass language that said that's no longer permitted. We don't want outside people like Michael Bloomberg influencing the employees of the AG's office. So we certainly wouldn't have something like that. But you're going to see major culture change. And of course, you're going to see a lot of lawsuits and issues change position immediately.
Thank you so much. Senator Warren Petersen, president of the Arizona State Senate, has been my guest. He's running for Attorney General of Arizona. And I hope you really enjoyed the candor on this. We'll do more. And by all means, I'm repeating myself, ask the questions and I'll get them to the senator here on the show. And let's get him answering questions from the people. Thank you so much, Senator. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're going to 5 other places at the same time, so good luck to that. On behalf of Senator Warren Petersen, I'm Laura Packey, and that's how I see things from Arizona today.